Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're here watching this from. This is for 2025 Formula 1 season review, where we saw a new world champion, Max Verstappen's 4-year run of becoming a world champion was ended by his best mate, Lando Norris. Lando Norris becoming world champion for the first time in his F1 career this season, where all the pressure was on him right from the start of the season, and in the end, he handled the pressure pretty well, didn't he? Handled the pressure pretty well, despite it wasn't really in his hands, was it? It wasn't in his hands, it was in his teammates' hands, really, in terms of going into the summer break. And especially after suffering that DNF in Zandvoort, we all thought that was it for Lando Norris' title hopes. But he fought back like a champion. He stayed away from social media and this British folk nonsense as well. Funny how things work, doesn't it? When that happens, when you stay away and you act like a proper champion as well. And that's what Lando Norris did. He acted like a proper champion. I'm not gonna go through all this or he was gifted the title and McLaren favoured him, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, he's been with McLaren for years, so they will favour Lando Norris. I mean, what's your point? And everyone said, oh, if this moment didn't happen, Norris wouldn't win the title, blah, blah, blah. For me, I don't agree, because what I did was I calculated all the moments we had this season. If them moments didn't happen, especially with Piastri moving over for Norris and Monza, Lando Norris would still be champion by 1 point. So all them moments that you're talking about, it just wouldn't matter one bit. Norris would still be champion, and yeah, he's a well-deserved champion for me. He's a well-deserved champion. He's proved me one right throughout the whole season. I never thought it would handle the pressure, even though Norris, we all know Norris is very good at ending the season strongly in previous seasons. I never thought once he had that title lead, I thought he would just pull it again. That's what I questioned about Norris, but he handled it well. He was pretty chilled, wasn't he? Pretty chilled, relaxed. Did what he needed to do in Abu Dhabi, finished in third place. Job done. World champion. Congratulations to him. Obviously, I'm not going to say congratulations to the Lando Norris fan girls, because they're going to be unbearable for every month now. Saying, oh yeah, Lando Norris is this, he's the best driver on the grid and he's the best driver in the world, he's one of the greatest drivers ever, despite only winning one world title and all that. It's a load of rubbish. They have no knowledge of F1. All these Lando Norris fan girls only a fan of him because they fancy him. Sorry to break their hearts. Lando Norris has already got a bird, so that will probably break their hearts as well. So, and they always pretend to have knowledge of F1 when they don't. They have no clue what's going on. Let's be real. So, yeah, that's what I've done on TikTok. I've just put every Lando Norris fan girl there is on TikTok, and there's loads of them as well, saying, oh, Norris is this, Norris is that. Lando Norris, there's nothing against Lando Norris, by the way. I'm actually happy for Lando Norris. I'm happy that a British driver has won it as well. But, yes, call a spade. Lando Norris is still in the same category as Damon Hill. As Damon Hill, Jason Button with one world title. Nowhere near the greatest drivers of all time. Shouldn't even be in the list for the greatest drivers of all time. Let's be real about it. And McLaren, the most dominant car, I still have to give them criticism. They still almost threw away the driver's title to the fourth quickest car in Max Verstappen. Yeah, they won it in the end. Only just won it in the end, when they should have had it sealed. Early in the season. And I told people time and time again, I've always said it would end in tears between Norris and Piastri, and it has ended in tears still, because one has missed out on the drivers' title for whatever reason. Because both of yous are one and out, both of yous, Zach Brown's master plan, like he keeps telling us, oh yeah, both drivers will have equal priority. It's a madness. It was a madness throughout the whole season. It was absolutely mad throughout the whole season. And I will say it. Nothing against Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri is a fucking very good driver. Very quick driver as well. But Oscar Piastri only thrives when he's number one. He will thrive when he's a number one driver. He doesn't thrive when him and his teammate and having the same priority, same strategy as well. Which is what happened in Qatar. When you mess up the strategy, that's what happens, because both drivers are having equal priority. Same with the disqualification, that's fair. So McLaren still, for me, despite winning both titles, still get a bit of criticism from me, because they should have had it sealed with the most dominant car this season, with the quickest car this season. They should have had the title sealed way earlier than this. And I still think it's pretty embarrassing that they were took to the final race by a fantastic driver in Max Verstappen. Yes, call it for what it is. Max Verstappen, for me, is still the best driver on the grid, in my opinion. But you've yet a fourth quickest car being title contention in the final race. So it's still a bit embarrassing from McLaren. But yeah, obviously McLaren won't care. They've won both titles, and rightly so, they shouldn't care. They've won both titles. For me, Lando Norris has won the points system World Championship. He's not exactly won what used to be the World Championship back in the day. Back in the day, it was about the most races won. And back in the day, Max Verstappen would have won the world title if he was on most races won this season. And for me, the best driver on the grid is the one who wins the most races every year. So, Lando Norris, well-deserved champion. I will give him that. But he did what he needed to do, was to store points to win the world title. He didn't have to win races to win a world title. He needed to store points to win a world title. Max Verstappen, yes, he had to win every race from the summer break to pull off the impossible. So, for me, the best driver on the grid is the one who wins the most races, which is Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen is my driver of the season for me. To be in title contention on the final race in the fourth quickest car is absolutely incredible. Incredible stuff. And but yeah, Lando Norris, he's done what Charles Leclerc couldn't do in the quickest car. He's actually won the world title. Charles Leclerc had the quickest car in 2022 and couldn't win the world title. He bottled it for himself, along with his team. So yeah, that's where I will give McLaren credit. At least with the most dominant car, McLaren, at least they know how to get over the line, unlike Ferrari, which we'll get on to. So, congratulations to Lando Norris, well-deserved champion. All these moments and all these moments that everyone wants to talk about that would have changed the championship, it actually wouldn't change the championship. Norris would have still won the title by 1 point. So, he's a well-deserved champion. Oscar Piastri, this wasn't a pay, was it? Oh, he must be feeling pain after having that lead as well in Zandvoort as well. I was quite shocked by Oscar Piastri's fall off as well after Zandvoort, because I thought, yeah, the title's done. It's Oscar Piastri's title. But I was shocked by the fall off. There's a lot of conspiracies about favouring Lando Norris. All of a sudden, Lando Norris has the quicker car than Piastri when it wasn't like that for the first half of the season. I actually do understand them conspiracies, to be fair. I think that's a good point. A fair point that needs to be made. I just think it's a huge coincidence all of a sudden when Norris suffered that DNF, all of a sudden Piastri falls off after Zandvoort. It's like the whole McLaren team were panicking. That the Dolan boy, 34 points behind, was quite a big gap to overturn. So, but at the same time, it was still Oscar Piastri's driver errors that tossed him as well. Baku, back-to-back DNS in Baku in qualifying and the race. That's Piastri's fault, not the team's fault. Same with Brazil, that's Piastri's fault. What I think happened is when he had to move over for Lando Norris, because Norris had a slow stop, which is ridiculous, by the way. I think that's nonsense, to be honest with you. That happened, to be honest. But all because he had a slow stop. I mean, that was pathetic, honestly. It really was from the team. We was pathetic. And I think that affected Piastri from there onwards. I think it killed him mentally. Killed him mentally and mentality-wise and confidence-wise. And that's what you need to try for errors in Baku. The hands get tight as well. Start the season, I think Piastri would have took this, wouldn't he? Start the season, he would have took this. But with the way it went, he'd be feeling pain, won't he, Piastri? I think Piastri is definitely going to be a world champion, in my opinion. He is world champion material, also Piastri. But for me, I just don't think he's going to do it at McLaren, if I'm being honest with you. I think he'll leave McLaren at the end of 2026. I don't think he's happy there. He's putting on a brave face, in my opinion. I think he'd be done at the end of 2026. And Mark Webber will have a hoots saying that as well. I think Mark Webber's already talking to teams in 2027 to take Oscar Piastri as the number one driver. And if Oscar Piastri is the number one driver in 2027, he'd be world champion, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion. No matter, well, depends who it's at. If it's at Ferrari, well, maybe not, because Ferrari are always a mess. But if it's at Aston Martin, where Piastri's the number one driver, world champion for me. Especially with the car agent we've already built as well. At Red Bull, you know what? I think Piastri can be the next Max Verstappen at Red Bull, where he wins races without having the car, in my opinion. I think he's that good, Piastri. I think Verstappen will be even Red Bull at the end of 2026. I think Piastri will replace Verstappen, and it'll be a Piastri-Hadjar partnership for 2027, in my opinion. And Verstappen will go to Mercedes or Aston Martin. That's what I think Verstappen. I've always said Verstappen will go to Aston Martin just with the Honda engine, in my opinion. So yeah, it just wasn't to be for Piastri. He still went to the final race, didn't he? With a chance of winning the title. But it was always going to be a long shot for him. It was always Norris versus Verstappen for the title in the final race. Both drivers won McLaren, the Constructors' Championship. We expected that. With the fancy line of they thought they should be winning the Constructors' Championship. But they took points off each other in the Drivers' Championship, which yet Max Verstappen in. Which proves my point. You should have a main number one driver and have like a Daniel Ricciardo as number two. And Norris would have been world champion way earlier, in my opinion. Or if it was Piastri and Ricciardo, it was same with Piastri. He'd be world champion way earlier. This is why I don't like the fancy lineups, because it's taking points off each other in terms of the drivers' championship. Maybe not in the constructors, but definitely in the drivers. But yeah, that is McLaren. McLaren won't care though. They won both titles, and yeah, at the end of the day, they won both titles, and they should be the ones most celebrating. Mercedes finishing second place. That no one expected that. Let's be real. George Russell, 319 points. Kimi Antonelli, 150 points. Kimi Antonelli had a good first half of the season, then dropped off in the middle of the season, then he had a strong end to the second half of the season, apart from Abu Dhabi. it was a learning curve, wasn't it, for Timmy Anthony? But Timmy Anthony's going to get even more better in these upcoming seasons as well. He's had some defensive masterclasses already this season. So yeah, solid season for him. George Russell got the best out of that Mercedes car, didn't he? Obviously picked up 2 race wins in Canada and Singapore. Got the best out of that Mercedes car. Obviously, Mercedes did have an extra wind tunnel coming into this season as well, which did help. But I still expect Mercedes to be the third quickest car behind Ferrari. And again, Ferrari, what a mess of a season they had, which we'll get on to. And yeah, Mercedes, all eyes for next season for Mercedes. Because it's looking promising for Mercedes for the new regulations for next season. They are going to be the most powerful car, apparently, for next season. So they are the team expected to win the Constructors next year and probably win the Drivers as well. Even though I think it will be a close battle between Mercedes and the McLaren, in my opinion, as McLaren still have the Mercedes engine as well. So yeah, George Russell, favourite for me for next year to win his first Drivers' Championship. And Mercedes, for me, are favourites to win the Constructors' Championship as well, with them expected to be the quickest car for next year and most powerful car for next year in the regulations. In third place, Red Bull, they were expected to be the fourth. I think they were expected to finish fourth winner this season. Max Verstappen, absolutely incredible. Really is incredible how Max Verstappen put himself in title contention right to the very end to try and retain his title for a 5th year in a row. He's a people's champion for me. He's acting like the people's champion. That's Max Verstappen. It's still been an amazing comeback. It still has been an amazing comeback from Verstappen. 104 points and just to miss out on the title by 2 points in the final race. Absolutely incredible comeback from Verstappen. Fought back like a champion, and it wasn't yet in the door. And yes, be real. He told Norris to earn it, didn't he? He told Norris to earn it in the final race, and Norris did earn it in the final race. And Max Verstappen still done an incredible job in that very poor Red Bull car. I think that's absolutely incredible. Honestly, he's my driver of the season for me. It's dope behaviour as well from Max Verstappen. 4-time world champion. 2 of his title wins have not been in the quickest car. 2021, Mercedes had the quickest car. 2022, Ferrari had the quickest car. No other driver could do what Max Verstappen did this season. No one. Not Norris. Norris couldn't do what Verstappen did in the Red Bull. And if Verstappen had the McLaren, fucking hell, Verstappen would have won the title by Austin, Texas in that McLaren car, to be honest with you. I think Piastri would have probably done what Verstappen did in the Red Bull, to be honest with you. I do rate for Piastri that high. So, and yeah, it's all about next season. Yeah, I think Max Verstappen is staying just to see what the Ford engines will be like. But if the Red Bull car, if he has to get the best out of the Red Bull car, then next year, then he'll leave, in my opinion. And he has the right to have a quickest car as well, Max Verstappen as well. By far, still the best driver on the grid. As even though he hasn't won the world title, he didn't win the Drivers' Championship. Still the best driver on the grid. He makes it impossible possible. Max Verstappen. The sweet spot he gets on the car as well. It's just incredible, man. Like I said, he's got the ability of Ayrton Senna and the mentality of Michael Schumacher, Max Verstappen. He is Senna Schumacher combined as well. Yuki Tsunoda, obviously his final season for now in F1. Leaves Red Bull. He will become a reserve driver at Red Bull next year. And just two hit and miss. Yuki Tsunoda for Red Bull, and he didn't do enough to save his seat. He did his best to, with the Palpatine orders on the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, try to back up Lando Norris, but he did a poor job where he backing up Lando Norris. And and here we go. On to the laughing stock of F1, Ferrari. Ferrari have been the laughing stock since 2008, really, when they won the constructors, but didn't win the drivers. And the last drivers title win 2007 with Kimi Raikkonen, and absolute mess the whole season with Ferrari. Absolute mess, absolute laughing stock for the whole season. I think both the drivers need to take main responsibility, to be honest with you. I agree with Elkan. I do agree with him. I think both drivers need to take whose responsibility for the performance of the Ferrari this season. Charles Leclerc's done the better job, but Ferrari should have been chancing McLaren this season for the constructors' title. Should have been chancing them with the second quickest car this season, and they end up finishing fourth in constructors. That is mad. That is absolutely mad. And what did I tell people start the season? Lewis Hamilton was finished. I told people Lewis Hamilton was finished. And Lewis Hamilton joined Ferrari for a retirement pension. I told people that. Why were people surprised? Of course, obviously, you didn't expect him to get knocked out in qualifying one consistently. But I think that's enough evidence that he's done, Lewis Hamilton. That he's done. And people want to say, oh, they've had a slow car. No, they haven't. Charles Leclerc qualified on pole for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Are we just going to push that under the carpet? He qualified on pole, Charles Leclerc, ahead of the McLarens. So there's no excuses for Ferrari. There's no excuses. They had a good enough car to challenge the McLarens. The drivers in the car, for me, are to PM. I'm not saying they're fully to PM. I think the team are to PM as well. Like I said, I've said every year the whole team of Ferrari have been a mess, and it still is a mess. They should have got Adrian Newey in instead of Lewis Hamilton. I did tell people that. If they would have got Adrian Newey in and kept Carlos Sainz at Ferrari, Ferrari would win both titles, in my opinion. They would win both titles this year. They would have won both titles this season. Honestly, they would have, in my opinion. But then Ferrari just keep on making the wrong decisions. They went for the fancy lineup. They went for the plan that is Lewis Hamilton. That's what he is now. He's not a driver. He's a plan now. LH44 and all this nonsense, all this changing the helmet colours as well. Or they've given Hamilton the room, the main room in the Ferrari in the Italian hotel and all that. Yeah. So yeah, I think both team and the drivers are to blame for Ferrari's performances this season. You can't leave the drivers out of this. They are to blame, the drivers. But the team's always been a mess as well. So and it's just going to continue for me. If this is the same lineup next year, it's just going to get even more worse for Ferrari next year. Yeah, if people don't say, well, Ferrari did well in the last of the lessons in 2022. Yeah, they had the quickest car in 2022 and they didn't win both titles. So that's my response to that. Maybe that's what some of the performances have been preparing for next season, but they're not going to do anything. Ferrari again not going to do anything next year. Let's be real. The whole team's a mess. The team members are choked at Ferrari as well. I thought Fred for sure would have been dud, but again he's just even worse team principal than Bonotto in my opinion. So yeah, the whole team's a mess. And I've always said they should have kept Carlos Sainz and got Adrian Newey in, and they would have won both titles, in my opinion, because Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz actually would have been happy for Charles Leclerc to be the number one driver. Charles Leclerc, quick driver, very quick driver, just like I think he's in the same category as Norris for me. They just both need the quickest car. That's the thing. Leclerc and Norris need the quickest car to become a world champion. That's what it is. So yeah, and Lewis Hamilton for me, as I said, I think someday even more worse for him. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's madness that he's staying in F1. I think he should have just. I think he should have said my dream move to Ferrari didn't work out, and I'll just leave it there. Don't get F1 run away from you. It's one of them, isn't it? Where don't get the sport run away from you. And I wouldn't say he's talented in his legacy. He's still a 7-time world champion, Hamilton, but I think he needs to leave now, if I'm being honest with you. But maybe this break might help Hamilton. We'll see. But no, I doubt it, to be honest with you. But yeah, Ferrari, once again, the laughing stock like the biggest laughing stock, same as every season. Williams finished in 5th place. Albon in 8th, Carlos Sainz in 9th. Carlos Sainz was actually a better race driver than Albon. Albon was better in qualifying. That's what it is, isn't it? Albon's obviously the better driver in qualifying. He's a quicker driver in qualifying, but Carlos Sainz is the better driver in the race. So that's what's done BI for the upcoming seasons as well. And Williams were preparing for next season, weren't they? They were preparing for the Radiations next season, and this is a very good finish for Williams, who were preparing for the Radiations for next year. And that's a worry for the other teams that this was Williams preparing for next year, and they're finishing 5th place. So I think Williams could be up there next year. Could potentially be up there next year, Williams. I think they've been kept quiet, if I'm being honest with you. I think they're the quiet dark horses for next year, and the team to watch next year, Williams, along with Aston Martin. I said at the start of the season, Williams and Aston Martin are preparing for next year. So, yeah, 6th place, Racing Bulls, very good finish for Racing Bulls. No one expected Racing Bulls to finish that high in Constructors' Championship. Isaac Hadjar won the Rookies of the season. Then, obviously, he's going to be at Red Bull for next year. Will be driving the Red Bull next year. Podium finish in Zandvoort as well. Superb drive from Isaac Hadjar this season. Jim Lawson, he was done in the medium speed corners, isn't he, Jim Lawson? I think Jim Lawson next year will thrive as a number 1 driver at Racing Bulls with Jim Yard as a number 2. So, yeah, great finish for Racing Bulls. So, yeah, good season for them, to be honest with you. Finishing in 6th place. In 7th place, Aston Martin. Aston Martin finishing 89 points. I'm not judging Aston Martin on this season because they're preparing for next year's Radiations. Adrian Newey was doing work on the car. Fernando Alonso still finishing top 10, consistent all the way through the season. Lance Stroll, for me, I do think this is a good lineup for Aston Martin. I think this is the right lineup for next year when they have the car. Lance Stroll, he'll be a good number 2. Lance Stroll doesn't have any opinion on it. And Fernando Alonso is still finishing in the top 10 in the races, which rubs salt in the wounds of Lewis Hamilton, doesn't it? It does rub salt in the wounds of Lewis Hamilton that Alonso still gets good performances out of that Aston Martin car, and Hamilton can't get performances out of the Ferrari. So, yeah, then another team to look out for, same with Williams this year. They're going to be even a lot more better than this season because they prepared for next season. Radiations. In the 8th place, we've had Haas. Ollie Berman, again, one of the rookies of the season for his performance in Mexico, especially as well. Very quick driver and very underrated. Been very underrated this season, Ollie Berman. Haas never had the qualifying car, so they were always in struggle in every qualifying session, really. But they always seem to have the race car this season, haven't they, Haas, and getting the points. And Ollie Berman, and for me, Ollie Berman, if he's the number one driver at Ferrari, then look out for Ollie Berman because he'd be very quick as the number one driver at Ferrari. But then we need to have a look at Ferrari to see if they've sorted the team out and everything out. And Esteban Ocon, pretty much where you expect him to be, 15th, getting the points in and there. And yeah, Ollie Berman, for me, obviously outscored him, which is probably what you expected. In ninth place, Sauber, the final season in F1 for Sauber before it's a name change to Audi. 70 points for Sauber. Hulkenberg, a solid 11th place in the Drivers' Championship. The standout race for him was the podium in Silverstone. At last, seeing Hulkenberg on the podium in an F1 Grand Prix was so good to see. Davide Bottietto, he had good races, but then he had bad races, didn't he? But then he'll get even better next year as well. Bottietto, very promising rookie as well. And yeah, Sauber did pretty well in my opinion because I think they were expected to be the worst team, weren't they? With Binotto coming in, so and I think Audi for me are gonna have some problems for next year with the irradiations, what we'll see. But this was a shock to me, Alpine being the worst team this season. I thought they would finish in 6th place because they always seem to finish 6th place every year, Alpine, or around there anyways. And I think what happened was it was just a mess from the start, wasn't it? Appointing Jack Doohan as the number 2 driver, and then you already told Jack Doohan he was already going to be replaced. I felt sorry for Jack Doohan, to be honest with you. Toro Pinto wasn't really much of an improvement on Doohan, to be honest with you. Will Toro Pinto get better next year? Potentially get better next year. But the options were limited for Alpine. It was either Toro Pinto or Jack Doohan then, or Paul Allen. So they don't give Toro Pinto another chance for next year. And per Dadsey, he did the best he can do in that Alpine car. With the 22 points. They're going to have a Mercedes engine for next year. Renault are now leaving F1. So Alpine will have a Mercedes engine for next year. Let's see how that works out. Should be an improvement, shouldn't it? Should be an improvement. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, that's my 2025 Formula 1 season review. But yeah, the season belongs to McLaren. They can all be around the campfire then, with the stew cooking in the middle. Zach Brown singing nursery rhymes as well. So they all have a total around the campfire. Oscar Piastri, we often joining in. So that should be an interesting campfire moment, shouldn't it? Oscar Piastri writing a poem. Writing a poem in blood to congratulate Lando Norris. So yeah. But yeah, Lando Norris, world reserve champion though. Let's be real, he is world reserve champion for me. He still would have won the title by 1 point anyways if all them moments that we've had this season wouldn't have happened. So yeah, feel free to leave your thoughts down below on everything I spoke about on this season review. Lando Norris wins his first world title as McLaren win both titles in the pretty much near perfect performance, near perfect season, despite it went to the final race for the drivers' title.